time oh.
Hello, everyone. Oh, there's a lot of back. Okay, good, good, good. Hello, good to see you all. Thank you all for joining me again on yet another episode of Finding Out with Special Needs. I am particularly excited about today's episode, and I want to welcome everyone. Thank you. Oh, Vicky, I owe you so much. You're always the first. Welcome, welcome, blessing, Gape. Welcome, everyone. Welcome. I'm always so grateful. I see it as a privilege for you all to want to be with me this evening. Thank you for always joining in. My regulars, thank you for everyone. It just shows me that you are particular about individuals with special needs and you want to learn more. And like I always say, we're all learning together. So today in particular is a very interesting day. I'm really excited about today because we have two knowledgeable people in the field of applied behavior analysis, and we need them. They're going to be sharing a few things with us today. And today's topic is what parents and educators need to know about applied behavior behavior analysis (ABA). So, what parents and educators, and when I say educators, I also mean other service providers who provide support for children with disability or children with special needs. So today is an holistic one, and then we're going to have the experts talk to us. Usually, I speak for a while and just talk about the topic, but today I'm not going to do any of that because I have people who are more than qualified to do this. So I'm going to give them the chance to school us, so to say. So welcome, Pamela. Welcome, Vicky. Welcome, blessing to everyone on YouTube, on my website, on Cadet Academy website. Thank you so much for joining us. Today, I believe we're going to have a great time on episode 29 of Finding Out with Special Needs. And I still remain Lola Aneke. The name never changes. It's not going to change. So I am so thankful that you're here with me this evening. And I'm really excited. You know, when we talk about ABA, and I remember I put out a quote and a definition of ABA when I put out the flyer for last week, and I think I'll quickly read that. And most times when we talk about ABA, we have different people have different meaning to it. You know, they have different perspective of what ABA should be. But what I want to read right now was what I posted when I talked about our topic for today on Friday. Applied behavior analysis (ABA) is a science in which tactics derived from principles of behavior are applied to improve socially significant behavior. And experimentation is used to identify the variables responsible for the improvement in behavior. And that was what Cooper, Heron, and Hewitt 2014 defined applied behavior analysis to be. Thank you, Joanne Teaser. Thank you, Ini Phil Ashley, for joining in. So today we're talking about applied behavior analysis. I hope my guests are here. They are definitely. I can see them. So we're talking about applied behavior analysis. We have two people with us today. We have, I call her Queen Bee. She's going to come up and talk about herself. I call her Queen Bee. And if you have been following, for you to be on Finding Up with Specialists this evening, I'm sure you know who we're bringing in. So I'm not going to do any quiz. And I'm sure you were wowed by their bios. They are the best we can bring on right now. And from time to time, we're bringing in different individuals who are in the field of ABA, and they'll be sharing a lot of things with us, and they'll be debunking some myths and explaining a few things. They will also be sharing with us on how we can be flexible on how to manage behavior and a lot of things. We're going to be looking at a lot of things. So we might not be able to cover up everything today, probably in another 2 weeks, but we'll keep letting you know when they will come up, or other experts in the field of applied behavior analysis will come up, and then just keep teaching us and pointing us in the right direction on how to go about ABA, particularly when it has to do with children with disability and children with autism in particular. Okay. Now, it will be my great honor, my pleasure. I'm really excited to bring in Queen Bee, and here she is. Hello, Queen Bee.
Hi, everyone.
Hi, good to have you. And I'm going to bring in Jennifer real quick. I didn't do much introduction, but I've told people who you are, and I'm sure they've seen your bio on our social media platforms. But we'll need you to please tell us who you are, introduce yourself. But before you do that, I'm going to bring up our second guest.
Okay.
Okay, I think she's not seated right now. While we wait for her to be seated, I would want you to please introduce yourself to us.
Okay, so I know Lola calls me Queen Bee, so that's how she knows me. My name is Bahija Shaibani, and I'm a PCBA here in United States of America. Currently living in New Jersey, but I was born and bred in Ghana, so I'm a Ghanaian as well.
Great.
I actually stumbled upon this field accidentally. I didn't know anything about ABA when I first started my course. So it's been a ride, an awesome ride, ups and downs and all of that, but it's been a good one at the end of it. I went in to do my master's program, and I was introduced to ABA, and it really tickled my fancy because I have never seen or heard about it. So when I read about it, I was a bit curious, and I realized that there was, at that time when I started, there was no single person who is a BCBA in Ghana. Now, in all the millions of people we have in Ghana, we have one single person who is in Ghana practicing. So that is not enough for me. I was like, she can't serve all the individuals with disabilities or anybody who needs the help. She was the only. I mean, she still is the only person, and it's my dream to go back very soon to also help in as much as I can.
Great.
The more reason why I was even curious to start this course or this journey was I realized that a lot of Ghanaian communities, even here in the United States, I have come across people who had kids with autism, but I didn't really know much about it because it's a hush topic. Nobody wants to talk about it, right? And if we don't give the help, if we don't talk about it and get the help that we need, I don't think we're doing justice to the kids or the individuals. So I was like, okay, this is something I really want to do. And if I can help my friends or family members or whoever needs this help or these services, that'll be great. So this is how, and I love doing what I'm doing. And this is just the journey and how I got into ABA.
Great. Hey, Jennifer. You need to unmute yourself, Jennifer.
Good morning, everyone. Do you want me to go ahead and introduce myself?
Yeah, please do.
Okay, my name is Jennifer Polite. Good morning from Oakland, California. I'm located in the United States. It's about, what time is it about? I think a little bit, almost about, 8:11 here. So I know other parts of the world, you guys are going to sleep and waking up, but want to give you guys some energy and help you guys stay awake. I actually started my journey in ABA about, I would say 9 years ago, about 2012, 2013. In undergrad, I was a biological science major and I was destined to be a pediatrician. And so I said, if I could work with kiddos on the autism spectrum, I'm going to be an amazing pediatrician. I met one kid and he changed my life and he inspired me to make a difference for not only autistic children, but also autistic adults. So I continue to work in ABA. I learned about some challenges with after ABA unemployment, some challenges about generalization in the community and things like that. And so I was prompted to start my 501c3 nonprofit called Autism Social Communities. Where we're focused on reducing the 80% unemployment rate amongst the autism population. And so after that, I started ASK about 3 years ago. And then when COVID had happened, it really exposed me to understanding about parent education and how important that was, given both the educational and therapeutic system like changing. So yeah.
Great, well done. And thank you for letting us know what you do. More like, thank you for being vulnerable with us, like telling us about who you are and what you do, because one of the things we do, the main reason we have Finding Up with Special Needs is to put out information there. We understand that the way things are done in developed countries is quite different from how things are done in developing countries. And I always say that there's nothing new under the sun. There's nothing you want to reinvent. You can only more like, you might just modify and try to make it work for you. I don't know if you get what I mean. So there's nothing new under the sun. We can just modify and make it work to suit you. Now, we know, I just read out the definition of what ABA is, but that's from the book. And I don't want us to do that. Finding Up with Special Needs simply means that anything that has to do with disability in any field, learning disability, specific learning disability, autism, Down syndrome, ADHD, whatever it is, you can find help. And that's why we bring professionals to come speak with us so that we can learn. And like I said earlier on, it might not be whatever is obtainable in your part of the world, might not be what is obtainable in our part of the world, but there's always an alignment. There's always like the benchmark, there's a baseline where we can now begin to modify and tweak due to cultural difference and other factors. Now, Queen B, I would want you to explain what ABA is and what it's. So for example, let me just make it simple for you. What is ABA in your own words, in your own experience? You're a BCBA, you're a birth certified behavior analyst. What is ABA? Please don't tell us the book, tell us the reality of ABA.
Okay. All right. So ABA simply is what? A science that is focused on teaching and improving behaviors or life skills. That is the simplest I can give. It's just improve someone's life skills. ABA is, I know a lot of people think ABA practitioners kind of change people. We don't change the human being. We change the life they're living, which we improve the life they live in and improve their life skills. So ABA can be used in different forms. We can use it to teach someone's communication skills, someone's social skills. We can use it in organizational behavior management. We can use ABA in forensics. We can use ABA in typical schools. ABA is wide. So it's not just for disability or intellectual disabilities. ABA is done everywhere and every day in our lives. It's just that we don't know what we are doing and how it's called.
Great. Thank you for that. Everywhere we can see ABA in every area of our life, and it can be in any field of study because we use it in HR, in medicine, in education. You see it all around. Thank you for that. I'm coming back to you, Queen B. And what I want to do with for you is let me go to Jennifer, then I'll come back to you because I have a follow-up question for that. But then, Jennifer,
yes,
I know I spoke with you and you were going to be a pediatrician. Yes, which also shows us that ABA can be used in the field of medicine. Now, why did you decide to go into ABA? Because I know you're preparing for your BCBA.
Right.
Why ABA?
Right. Yeah. So essentially, I want to start a behavioral health company that is focused on a parent therapeutic model instead of a client therapeutic model. And so what I mean by that is, and actually what inspired me to do that is I've been teaching autism parent education training where I apply the service to the parents so that they can then educate and help their child progress. And given that, like I said, the impact with COVID impacting both the educational and therapeutic landscape, right? Parents don't know what to do, whether it's in education or whether it's in therapy. They are completely have been, not included in whatever, again, the service, I would say. You get what I'm saying? So that's what really inspired me to go back and now get my BCBA, and I'm really, really excited about it. So yeah.
So what is it? And thank you so much. Thank you, Jennifer. Thank you. I really appreciate the fact that you developed interest in it. And not only did you develop interest in it, and I know you have several years of experience of using the ABA principles.
Right.
Now, you actually do that because of what you're trying to do. So you're trying to, you already have a registered company already.
Yeah, 501c3.
Yeah, you do. And one of the criteria to be able to run the organization appropriately, one of the requirements in America is that you must be BCBA. Am I right?
For my nonprofit organization?
Yes.
So my nonprofit organization is not about behavior. It's not about a BCBA. So my nonprofit organization most specifically is focused on unemployment here in America, reducing the 80% unemployment rate. So I have a plan to, aside from my nonprofit, starting another organization, a behavioral health company.
Okay, so that's what requires you to be a BCBA.
Correct.
Fine, good. I'm liking how this is going. Now, back to you, Queen B. I know you went back to school to study ABA on the graduate level, which is master's, and you're a BCBA. Now, I want you to explain to us something which I know, but I wanted us to look into that, because in this part of the world, a lot of people really believe that they need to be experienced, which is one of the one skill. If you're working with children with special needs, experience gives you leverage, and also your certification matters also. Okay, and a lot of people have questions. Oh, I know that because I remember when at some point I was considering BCBA. So I'll talk about myself real quick now, and I'll bring the question to you to help you explain the best way to go about responding to this question. So I am a special needs educator. I was trained in the US. And for a whole semester, we had a training on behavior management, and we're taught by a BCBA. So when a BCBA trains you, which means they're going to be checking on your practice and all of that. And for me to get my certification done, I needed to work in schools, and I needed the BCBA to come observe what I was doing. And it costs a crowd, because special education is not just about behavior. It's part of behavior management, but different other things I was supervised on before I was referred for my praxis, which is my certification, okay, to be called a certified special needs educator. Now, the fact that a BCBA taught me on behavior management gives me that leverage to be able to apply the principle of ABA in my setting as an educator, okay? Now, for individuals who are thinking, oh my God, BCBA is the way to go. If I'm not a BCBA, or I'm not an RBT, or I'm not, okay, that's one. If I'm not that, will I be able to apply the principle of ABA? That's one. If I'm going to be able to apply it, what would I need to be able to apply the principle? That's one. I just said my own story. Secondly, if I wanted to get trained in ABA and I wanted to be probably an RBT, no, let's talk about BC, because I want to be a BCBA. When I get into school, into the colleges, do I just go to study ABA and I tell them I want to study ABA and I want to work with children with disability? Or, for example, like I said, when I was speaking to you earlier on, as a GP, I'm studying medicine. I'm a general practitioner. So I'm assuming I'm that. But if I wanted to now say, okay, this is what I want to do, how do I go about it? I don't know if you get my question. Knowing that ABA can be applied in forensic, it can be applied in criminology, it can be applied in medicine, it can be applied in education, it can be applied in different ways. What would you advise in two ways? One, if I had not gotten any form of training at all, and I wanted to apply the principle of ABA, what would you advise? And if I was going to go in as Jennifer is going back now to school to study to get a BCBA done, what would you advise? Because I know you've gone through that route.
Okay, so the first question, if you're not an RBT, you're not a BCBA, but let's say you are a teacher and you need to use the principles of ABA, you need to be trained on how to apply these principles. It doesn't come easy just because you've seen somebody doing it and then you think, oh, if she can do it, I can do it. No. First of all, you need to get trained by a qualified and certified BCBA for some time. And if you want to use that in your classroom, by all means, that's great, because we need to teach teachers, firefighters, all these how to actually use or implement ABA around us. So it's good that someone who is not into the actual practice of ABA wants to learn about it. Kudos, that's great. But make sure you're trained and overseen by a BCBA. And then you know that you can actually now be able to apply it in the field that you are in. Don't call yourself a behavior analyst just because you were trained under a BCBA. You're not. You're just using the principles of ABA in your field. Do not call yourself an RBT either. You're not. Just say, I'm using the principles of ABA in my field, and you're good. Second, if you want to go to school and become whatever you want to become using ABA, I did my master's in applied psychology with a concentration in ABA. So that gives me a lot of flexibility. Just like somebody who will go into special education with concentration in ABA. Mm-hmm. So we have different things that you can do, but you have to do some sort of concentration in ABA to be able, or that will lead you into getting the certification, writing the exams to get the certification. So you get what? You get your master's in whatever you're doing with ABA in it. Make sure that you have all the ABA requirements before.
Correct. Correct.
Yes. Yes. I like that. And
on the website, just to jump in, on the website, it's going to tell you, what types of degrees, like education. Yeah. But for mine, again, because mine was educational leadership, the classes are not applicable to the courses that they require. So that's why I have to go and take a certificate program to then,
Yes. I totally appreciate that, because like I keep saying, find out with passion is to point people in the right direction. Parents, educators, related service providers, physical therapists, or whatever field, as long as you're in the field of special education. Now, I also remember that at some point I was thinking of dabbling into BCBA. And Jennifer, this is between you and I. It's not going public before I change my mind. Before I change my mind. And I remembered reaching out, and one of the things they said to me was, since you've done a training, you did a semester in behavior management and you were taught by a BCBA, we'll convert those credit hours. And then they told me a few more courses I would take to become a BCBA. But I just felt what I had was enough for what I wanted to do. Okay. So for anyone out there who's thinking, oh, I want to be, what you need to do, it's okay if you have a BCBA who can teach you on the principles of ABA, but don't say to anyone you are an RBT, even if you're still in training. Please, let's be professional enough. Let's have this integrity to say, look, I am in training, okay, but I am applying the principle of ABA. Don't go about saying I'm a BCBA or I'm a BCA, BC, or a BCBD. If you are into ABA, you know all of these things I'm talking about. So it's okay to say you apply the principles of ABA. Okay. The principle is different from the certification. Okay. And then back to you. And then also if you wanted to study BCBA, and that's what brings me to the question for you, Jennifer. So if anyone, I think, so hold on. Queen B,
Yeah.
your first degree was in Ghana, right?
Yeah, it was in Ghana. And it was in theater arts.
Thank you. You might be the best person to answer this question. I'm coming back to you, Jennifer, because I love what you're doing. And I want you to explain that aspect of how ABA is being used in certain areas. So I'm coming back to you. Now, Queen B, back to you. What did you do? You were in Ghana. So I know we have quite a lot of audience, particularly in Nigeria and Ghana around us. And you are more like you're with us. You're our person. Forget the fact that you're living in New Jersey. You're an African. I know how things work here. What did you do? What did you do, and how did you get yourself to be admitted or to get onto the program?
Okay. All right. So I had a lot of steps that I had to go through. First of all, my education was in Ghana. So they had to verify and make sure that my transcript was genuine. Right? So I sent my sealed and signed transcripts to the Western Education, something regarding how
education services, yeah.
So they have to actually go through it and make sure that it's authentic and it's good enough for the education here. So they went through it, evaluated it, and then sent it to the school and sent me a copy. So once the school got it, then they gave me a thumb up, right? That okay, I'm good to go. Good to go. Then now I have to do the other requirements that I needed. So I needed to write a personal letter why I want to do this this course and what is the interest, how did I get it, how did I hear about it, all the good things about ABA. So you do that, and then if the panel read your essay or your work and they think that, oh, okay, this is impressive, now then they call you again for an interview. So it's a lot of steps. They call you for an interview, and then they interview you, and then they see who you are, where you're coming from, why you're getting into it, what is the interest. Do you understand what this is about? Do you know what you're getting yourself into? Right. So after that, they look at all the people they have actually interviewed and pick and choose who they want to get into the program. So that's how I got into this. It wasn't just me coming in and taking some few courses here and there and then jumping in. No. And then once I got in, you have a question?
Yeah. So you were able to do your BCBA because you already had BSc. Am I right?
No, I was able to be a BCBA because I went into the master's program. You can't be a BCBA without a master's program.
Master's first.
Master's
in applied behavior analysis, right? Thank you. I needed to clarify that. Now back to go on.
And then tell her about the volunteer hours because
so let's say that clearly.
Okay.
Jennifer, I need you to say that clearly because a lot of people need information on this, and that's why we're doing this.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Go ahead. You take it over.
Yeah.
No. Say what you said clearly because we didn't hear you clearly.
No, Queen B, you could finish and tell them the rest of the requirements because that is important. The volunteer, whether it's 1,500 or 2,000. So go ahead.
Yeah. So you actually have
supervision. Excuse me.
Once you get into it, you have to have a supervision hours.
Yeah.
Someone who is a BCBA or a BCBAD to supervise you, and you have to have either 1,500 or 2,000 hours of supervision. So if you're doing really a good job of doing like 40 hours a week, then you're sure to be able to get, within a year, a little bit over a year to get that hours. If you're doing part-time, it's going to take you longer than that.
Mm-hmm.
You need to do it. Some clinics would do it for a pay cut. That is, they won't pay you a lot of money, but because they're supervising you. Some people will have to make you pay them for supervising you.
Correct.
So it's a lot of So at that point, you're just sacrificing your time and the money you're supposed to be making. It's sacrifice.
Hours.
Hours.
It's interesting. Like I was thinking about, you know, a lot of folks who are in the medical field, such as nurses, I'm like, it's easier to be a nurse than it is to be a BCBA.
Yeah, you're talking about behavior, you're talking about life, so it has to be very thorough. I believe it has to be thorough.
With 1,500, and then you can only do it at the master's level. You cannot do it. So again, you have to get your undergraduate degree. And then after that, you have to go into your master's program. And that's only when you can start to accumulate those supervision hours. You cannot. So like I said, again, I have 9 years of experience, right? Like I can't count all of that supervision past time. I can't. So I'm like, oh my God, right? Like I got to start all over again.
Yep. Okay. Yeah. Great. And I like that we're making this very plain, because I believe a lot of people want this information and they're wondering, how do I get this done? And why I'm particularly focusing some of the questions on Queen Bee Bahija is because we have a lot of Africans watching, particularly people from West Africa, and they might not be able to relate to what Jennifer is saying because, she's American and she's living in America. It might not be whatever is optimal. She took it from Africa. She took her exams. I mean, sent a transcript to West, and it was evaluated and all of that, so that anybody thinking of doing that. And one of the good things about this is that Queen Bee, I didn't ask you, but is it okay for people to reach out to you if they needed more information on how to go about this?
Definitely. We need more people in this. We need
and I'm going to go there. Jennifer, don't feel that I'm not coming to you. I have lots of questions for you because
I know.
Yeah, so I want Queen Bee to trash a few things for us. Now, for those individuals who, for some reason, they don't have master's degree, and they still want to do AB. And I know that's where RBT comes in and all of that. So someone like you, and these are two questions, how do they go about that? Can they contact you and say, look, I want to do this because I know that they need supervision? Is that all they need? And what is it going to look like if they want, because you are not in Nigeria, and you're not in Ghana, even if you're Ghanaian, you're in New Jersey. Is this something that they can easily say, Miss Queen Bee, we saw you on Find Out with Special Needs, and from what you said to us that if you don't have a master's degree, we can be supervised by a BCBA. Can you do this? Is this something that is doable, even with them not being physically present with you?
Okay. So before I can supervise anybody to be a BT or RBT, which is registered behavior technician, you need to be working with an individual with disability.
Good.
So you are working with that individual, and I will be able to supervise you. Now, thank goodness, we have telehealth. So wherever you are in this world, you can use telehealth as long as you both have a good network going on. I can supervise wherever in this world, right? But you need to be working with someone that I can supervise you. If you're not working with anybody in the field or working with individual with disability, I can supervise you. Then where are you implementing? What are you using your skills to do? Yeah.
Okay,
so
great. Great. That's a great information that we needed to know. Okay, because a lot of people are thinking, I might not be able to travel to you in New Jersey. I'm just using you as an example, but any BCBA can actually supervise anyone who is working with children with disability, and then they can now become RBTs or BCA, BC, right?
Yeah. So with the RBT, you need about 40 hours of training. We have a coursework that you have to actually do that. So it's 40 hours coursework, and then you need a BCBA. Yeah, go ahead, Jennifer.
That's all on the BC. Is it the BCABA website? Correct.
Website.
Folks can see. ACB, right? Website that a lot of folks can look at that and see the RBT, the courses, the whatever it is. Yeah,
absolutely. Because sometimes it's the supervision that is a problem for a lot of people. Right. So we are saying that you can actually reach out to Queen Bee or Bahija. Reach out to her, and of course she can also introduce other people that she knows that they can actually supervise you. And I know that you mentioned that sometimes some people make you pay, some people don't make. I hope if they're coming from us and they mention Lola Aneke or they mention Cadet Academy, you would be nice enough not to ask for an arm or a leg, please. I hope you can do that for us.
We can give it for some sort of cut. But
it's something like you can do, because the truth is that we need a lot of people to do more things, and we want them to be more professional, and we don't want to make it like child's play. At the same time,
No.
we want, because you and I know that we don't have enough professionals in this field and we need more people. So whatever we can to make things easier for them, we really appreciate it. Thank you so much
Yeah, so
for that.
just you saying that we need more people. Yeah, and as much as we do need more people, we still want to be very cautious about
Yes.
who does what, because the first thing about this is do no harm.
Yes,
This
absolutely.
already has bad and negative, talks about ABA because of how other people are implementing it. Okay, they're not well equipped, and they're just doing some sort of, I don't even want to call it behavior modification. I don't know what it is, but they end up calling it ABA, and they're giving it a bad name.
Correct.
So you need to be able to be compassionate, to be empathetic, to be patient, to be to be loving, to have this kind of skills, and then work with people with disability. We don't want people forcefully restraining people, calling it, oh, I'm missing ABA principles. No, we can stop a bad behavior or problem behavior happening without even restraints. So we need to be really careful. We want more people to be BCBAs in Africa, but we still want to control it.
Absolutely, absolutely. So now back to you. Thank you so much, Queen B. Thank you. So you can go to the ABA the website and get all what the criteria would be. But if you need supervision, Queen B is here for you, and you can actually reach out to her. She can direct you to other people. I know a few other people, but above, beyond wanting to be certified or wanting your certificate and all of that, like you heard her, passion, understanding, patience, being empathetic. It's not about restraining or being forceful, because like you heard her say, it's all about doing no harm. So that should be your driving force, as opposed to wanting to just add a certificate and just to want to parade it. Thank you so much, Queen B. Now, Jennifer, I want you to, because I know you're very big on parent training, and with COVID now, I want you, I know a lot of people, and I'm going to say why I'm asking this question. A lot of people believe that the question is, how can ABA be done? Okay, and I know you know, but the area I want you to also talk about beyond the one-on-one is the parenting and the group training. And I know you're big on that, on those. I know you do one-on-one, I know you do parenting training, and I think, if I'm not mistaken, you do group training too, because I know some school of thought think, oh, ABA has to just be one-on-one. I want you to shed more light on those.
Right. Yeah.
And considering that there's COVID, also let us know how that can also be achieved.
Yeah. So I really focused on parent, not group.
Okay,
so I'll speak from my experience.
Maybe I'll bring that question to Queen B.
Yeah. Honestly, how I really stumbled on parent training, and how COVID even made me realize how important it was. I would say so when I was working in ABA, and I would help a lot of kiddos actually exit out of the system. And it was more so because I really focused on parent training when I was working in these different companies. So when I would have clients, I would tell the parents like, hey, when I leave, I need you to make sure you do this, and every day that I was there, I was incorporating pretty much the parents in the therapy. And so then when I had, so when children, I was actually helping families to progress out of ABA. They didn't need the service anymore. And, a lot of folks were like, wait, why did they leave ABA? It's really because they didn't need it anymore. And so then when I, about a year and a half ago, one of my good friends, she had called me and she said, hey, Jen, there's a client I used to work with, and I want to know, if you would see if you could do anything for them. And that's actually how I really started my journey with autism parent education training, utilizing, again, the principles of ABA. So again, I am not a BCBA, but because I've worked in the field for a long degree of time, I know how to use the principles. I know how to educate parents on the principles, and also working with SLPs, also inform parents about speech goals and things like that. So that is how I got into starting to teach autism parent education training. And so again, like I said, my friend called me up, and me already having all these previous skills and things, I was like, wow, I really, that was the challenge working in ABA, was that the emphasis was not on parent education. And if it was only 30 minutes out of a week or whatever, it wasn't enough to me. And so again, the model was not parent-centered, it was client-centered. That was a problem. So again, that's how I got into starting autism parent education training. And what else was I going to tell you guys? I completely forgot. What else was the question?
So I was saying to you that now that it's COVID, you remember, yes. I know that we've had this discussion saying sometimes when we're using the ABA principle, you focus more on the child, and the parent training is always very not much. I mean, maybe once a week and all that. And now that there's COVID, so go on.
Right. Thank you for jogging my memory. But now again, when, COVID had happened, I was like, whoa, this is even more of a need, for autism parent education training, again, utilizing the principles of ABA, because right now here in America and all across the world, therapy services are cut. Children are out of school. A lot of parents don't know what to do. Even when you're talking about education and distance learning, a lot of parents don't know what to do. Luckily, I have nephews, and I know what to do to progress them in education. But again, if I was a parent and I didn't know what to do, I could understand how hard that is. And then even with therapy, right? Doing telehealth where the parent is not the center. Right. And so again, that's why I do autism parent education training. And that's why I believe putting the parent, at the center of the therapy is important.
Yeah. To also come in there, the ABA, or why we do what we do, is to generalize, okay, for the kid to be able to decide whatever is acquired. So, and we want to be able not to be in the individual's life forever. We want to fade out. Okay? So that is where the parent training comes in. We need to fade out at some point.
Right.
So COVID has actually opened up a lot of things, right? We realize that, oh my gosh, this parent training that they were not getting, now look at it. It's going to affect them. We can't go in home, and there's going to be a big problem. And the parents are not able to stop problem from happening, and they can't even contain it, right? So parent training is really key. As much as we want to do the one-on-one training with the individual, parent training is always important, because you want to fade out. You don't want to be in the individual's life forever. Fade out, teach them what to do, equip them enough, and then when you're saying bye-bye, you did a good job.
Again, I think that is, why I'm so passionate about, autism parent education training, and again, utilizing the principles of ABA, because what it seems like here, again, COVID has exposed the therapy system, specifically ABA, and how, it's the RBT, or the behavioral analysis, specifically working with the child, right? And now in other parts of the country, folks are trying to implement those same systems. It does not make sense. If another pandemic happens, parents still aren't going to know what to do. If, again, it's not parents at the center applying that service. That makes sense? That makes everyone okay. I'm so passionate about this because it's so important. One, when parents are at the center, again, a parent-centered approach. Parents are empowered. They know how to progress their child on their goals, and they know what they're doing, and they're confident enough to do it and continuously implement it. When they're not at the center, things like this happen. Therapy is cut. Parents don't know what to do.
Something.
Go ahead.
Were you going to say something? I thought you were trying to say something, Quindi.
Oh, no. Yeah, I'm just, the same, echoing what she said, which is really important. Parent training. I keep telling people.
And if companies are doing it, it's not parents at the center. It's saying, okay, we're going to do it for 30 minutes or an hour or however many hours. But again, parent working side by side with that parent, teaching them how to implement these things.
Yeah.
How how the BCBA works with the RBT or behavioral analysis is exactly the same way that they need to work with parents. Again, if another pandemic, anything happens, parents still don't know what to do.
True.
So that's
True.
why I'm very passionate about this, because I know that it has made a difference in the lives of many clients I've worked with. So yeah.
Great. And I like the fact that you're saying this, because I'm always very big when I'm working with children that parents need to be involved. And I know parents can be busy and all of that, but you need to know. And that's why I brought up that question, that now that COVID is here, and that's therapist or who is going to be working with the child on the ABA principles cannot make it. How? I mean, for some reason, I have a few friends who, even when COVID first started and they were not sure if telehealth worked and all of that, they felt just stuck. Like, what are we going to do with this child? So we need to now understand that in everything we do, parents are very important, and we need to carry them along. And like you said, it's not about you working forever or perpetually with that child. It's about you, as you're working with the child, you're equipping the parents so that you can actually step aside or probably be done with the child, and then they can pick it up from there. And I mean, from time to time, they can also consult with you when they feel stuck at some point.
Exactly. Definitely consulting, because once you say bye, doesn't mean that bye forever, right?
Forever.
Always open for consultation, for coming back and asking. So
go ahead. Sorry. I'm just so excited about it because, you know, when the focus is parents are going to understand, you know, one, they're going to pay attention more to their child and also understand any other challenges and also how to implement interventions. They're going to be more confident in doing those things instead of calling, you know, whatever company it is, behavioral health company it is, to come back and help. No, they're going to know how to help their child. That's the biggest thing. I recall working with a family last year of 2018, not last year, but 2018, they had started ABA. And then, so December of 2018, they had started ABA. And from December 2018 all the way up to April 2019, they saw no progress. They didn't know how to read the binder. There was really no parent education. The child was only saying, I want, and it was rote. The child was, they had a lot of rigidities. They knew all of when you pulled out a card of a map, they knew every map of every country. They didn't have any toys. They didn't have too much of anything. Now, again, they're receiving ABA, and I'm not saying that ABA is bad. What I'm trying to tell you guys is that parent education is important. So these parents were not educated about anything, not the binder, not toys to buy, nothing. Until the parents then hired me privately to teach them about what to do and apply the principles of ABA, and also tell them toys and things to buy and to do. And also, again, another challenge is that a lot of our disciplines don't work together, right? My kiddo also had speech goals. So the company was not working on the speech. They weren't working with the SLPs. You know, the ABA, the BCBAs and SLPs were not working together. So it's like when they hired me privately, I was actually doing all the work. I said, okay, hey parents, what are the speech goals? What is ABA telling you guys? Okay, this is what you guys need to do. Within 1 month, they saw so much progress within working with me with their child. 1 month that they did not see, with ABA. And again, I'm just saying that parent education is important. That is what I'm saying. Putting parents at the center and educating them is important.
All right. So just to put things together, as you said, collaboration is always the best way to go. We need to collaborate because you might be lucky to have a kid who just needs ABA services, period.
Right.
Okay. We have another kid who need occupational therapy, speech therapy, physical therapy, and even feeding therapy.
Yes.
So if you're not collaborating with the others,
multidisciplinary.
Thank you for that.
You help the kid, because in as much as you might use verbal behavior to teach some communication skills, you still need the speech therapy for what? Apraxia.
Yes.
Work with donations and everything like that.
Yes.
We need to collaborate. We just need to learn how to collaborate with other professionals for the sake of the individual.
And that's been a challenge in our field.
I know. I mean,
I'm just telling the truth. That's what you call me to do. That has been the challenge, right?
Absolutely, absolutely. And I'm glad we're saying this because it's called, this show is called Finding Out with Special Needs. And I just need to put it out because everything that has to do with special education, come here, I will tell you how it ought to be. We're not saying you must follow it from, I mean, the way we're saying it, but we understand the place of culture and a little bit of difference, but this is the principle and you must follow it to be able to get the right results. Okay? Collaboration, parent training, you can't do it alone. Collaborate with other professionals, you know.
Correct.
You know,
The services that your child, right? The services that your child is receiving.
Yeah. Everyone, depending on the need of the child. And that brings me to the next question. But before I go, I'm getting some echoes. I don't know what's happening. Am I echoing at the end?
A little bit. Yeah.
I'm wondering why. Am I still echoing? No, it's fine now. So talking about collaboration, very important, parent training, because we just need to do it. You need, depending on the need of the child, you need to be sure that you're meeting every need using the ABA principle. And that brings me to one question. I think I wanted to answer that. And after answering that, there was a question that Jennifer did not really answer because she said she does parent training and she doesn't do group, because there's a belief that ABA must be one-on-one. What is ABA? Can it involve parent training, not just one-on-one with the child, and can it involve group training? I need you to explain how that is done. And then talking about collaboration, who is a behavior analyst? What does you make? So there's BCBA, there's all of the RBT, there's all that. When do you call yourself a behavior analyst? What qualifies you to say I'm a behavior analyst?
Okay.
2 questions in one.
Okay, all right. So for the first one, which is whether you can do group therapy, yes, definitely. Where group therapy is really even important is when you're doing social skills.
Correct.
Okay. When you're teaching the kid to be socially involved, you need to bring other people together.
Yes.
Okay. So you're teaching the kid how to do what? To interact with someone, to be able to initiate conversation. You need other people there.
Other people, right? Yeah.
It can be the same kid with the same kind of skills, or a little higher. Yes. Somebody who is in mainstream, just to help the kid navigate and be able to communicate with you. Right. We can also use group when it comes to sibling training.
Yes.
Okay. We talk about parent training, but we also do sibling training.
Sibling training, yeah.
We do caregiver training. When we say caregiver training, grandma is in the house, she needs to be trained. Grandpa is in the house, he needs to be trained. Nanny needs to be trained. Whoever is in day-to-day needs to be trained.
Correct.
How to handle the kid, what happens, how to do something when something happens, how to stop something from happening. So you have to do all these. So it's when you're taking a kid, you're taking the whole community.
Correct.
Very true.
Anybody around the people, if they're used to going to every Sunday, they're going to grandma's house and they're acting out over there, and there's nothing going on to stop that tantrum behavior. You need to be going to that grandma's house and be teaching them how.
Also, exactly.
Yep. Very true.
So yes, I'm glad we're putting it out there, because a lot of people believe, and that's why I needed Jennifer to talk about the parent training, and then you also talk about the group training, because there's this belief, there's this school of thought, silent school of thought, that thinks ABA is just you and the child alone, you and the child alone. So parent, please, anyone applying the ABA principle is also required that you are involved to be able to generalize, that, because this individuals, I always say to people, everything about special education is expensive. How long do you want to keep paying? Even if insurance, which you don't even have in this part of the world, to pay for you, you need to equip yourself to be able to help that child. And it doesn't make you a behavior analyst or a BCBA or an RBT. It's just for you to be able to help that child. And even when grandma is being trained, the nanny is being trained, everyone's being trained, does not make it like, okay, we're not good, we don't need anybody anymore, so we're good to do this, and then we can get other people on board and be able to help them to know, because whatever is being done for your child is solely for your child alone and not for the whole world, and just for you to be able to help your child. Now, the second question was, when can I say I'm a behavior analyst? Is it by just taking a training? I want to know why and when a person can say I'm a behavior analyst, because several names go out there. I want to know what to do and how to. So when somebody comes to you and say, what should I ask? What should I ask?
Okay, so that is very dicey, right?
Jennifer,
I was like, wait, before you go to that next point, though, I wanted to chip in.
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay. So yeah, when you said group, I know that, Lola, you kept asking about parent training in group settings. It's really the social skills piece, because then it's hard to teach anything else, because different children have different needs and parents need to know different things. So that's exactly, what my nonprofit does, Autism Social Communities. We have a partnership with the museum here, and in February, we had 250 families where we were educating parents about social skills. We had slime, we had paint, we had, what else did we have? We had like Orbeez, sensory activities, right? And through each activity, parents were helping their child practice social skills with their peers. And there's an evidence-based model for social skills. A child on the autism spectrum cannot practice that with another child on the autism spectrum. That is not evidence-based practice. Again, evidence-based practice is a child on the spectrum practicing that with one of their peers, a typically developing peer. So just to kind of chime in on that.
Mm-hmm. Great. And I like the fact that you said all the, as we kept on talking about ABA, the disability that kept coming out was autism. Now, I am a special educator. I keep telling people I am certified to work with children with different disabilities under individuals with education, with disability education. That's IDEA. And it does not limit me to just autism, Down syndrome, ADHD, cerebral palsy. And I'm very aware, because that was my training, that ABA principle can be applied in every of this, just like it can be applied in different fields. Yeah. Now, the way ABA will be applied in autism, because it has to do a lot with behavior, with most of the, behavior, social skills, communication is a behavior, social skills is a behavior, repetitive and selective is a behavior. So more like 80% of the job that needed to be done with autism involves the applied behavior analysis, which is also needed in the other kinds of disability. So my question now is, and you've answered it subtly, but just to be clear about it, my question now is, we're talking about ABA and the principle of ABA and all of that. Is ABA a curriculum? Well, that's one. Two, how, just the way, you, and I know that Queen B, your specialization is in autism, and you told me, I keep forgetting what it is again.
Addiction.
And addiction, yes. I keep calling it rehabilitation. Addiction. Now, yeah. So now, would it be the same way that not the same way, the way you're going to work with a child with autism? Now, ask if it's a curriculum, you're going to answer that. And then, if you're to work with a child with dyslexia, how would you work with that child? If you're to work with a child with ADHD is also behavioral. If you're to work with a child with cerebral palsy, what would be the basis, and how will you work with that child? Okay. Is my question clear?
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
So ABA
and Jennifer, please don't tune off for us, because you're going to have to answer some part of that question too.
All right. So the first question was,
is ABA curriculum?
Yeah. No. ABA.
So how does it work?
ABA is a scientific-based intervention. Okay. And we have assessments that we use. Okay. So based on the assessments that you use with the kid and the evaluation, you can choose programs from the assessments. ABA itself is not a curriculum, but we have assessments, tools that we use. Like we have what? We have ABLES, we have the APLES, we have PEAK assessments, we have VBIMA. So whatever out of these four that I use that to see where the kid is falling on the milestone, and then choose programs based off what they need. So ABA is not a curriculum.
Good. I think thank you for answering that question, but there's a part B to it. But before we go to the part B, I wanted you to answer the question I asked about what I don't know if there's any qualification that I need to become a behavior analyst, but what makes me, what would qualify me to say I'm a behavior analyst? Because I've studied the principle of ABA, or like someone like me that I've studied the principle and I was supervised by a BCBA. Am I free to call myself a behavior analyst? What makes me a behavior analyst?
Okay.
Just like we have BCBA and RBT and all of that. Do they have anything in common, or is just like a way of saying, look, I know how to analyze behavior?
All right. So why I say before it's dicey is because some RBTs call themselves behavior analysts, right? And parents or other people who are not in the field get confused as to which level they are in. All right. If you're an RBT, yes, you can call yourself a behavior analyst, but make it clear that you're just an RBT. So I know a lot of people who say like, oh no, RBT shouldn't be part of what we call the behavior analysts. But I mean, it's okay if you would actually explain to whoever you're talking to, right? But to be a behavior analyst, you should either have the BCABA, which is the assistant, or the BCBA, or the BCBAD.
Wow.
It's funny listening to you talk about this, Vahisha, kind of explaining it, just because I know that when I had started, like I said, in 2012, I was a behavioral therapist, so it's like behavioral therapist, analyst, RBT, and it's kind of like
another thing we need to talk about, behavioral therapist, behavioral analyst. Let's make it clear. I like that you brought that up.
Okay. The only thing I think is like huge is like BCBA, and that means that you're a supervisor, like your supervisor. Everything else, you could call yourself a behavioral therapist, behavioral analysis. And then after that, like you get your RBT. Most companies, when you start to work for a company, they're going to ask you, are you a registered behavioral technician? Okay, no, you're still a behavioral therapist or a behavioral analysis. They're just going to get you trained to become a RBT because that is the new certification that a lot of these companies, and I think the BCAB, whatever that website is, they want you to have it.
Yeah, it's not even the company that wants you. It's the insurance company.
Correct. Yeah, the insurance. Yeah, so that's like the new thing.
Exactly. And that's another thing we're going to get to, because all that we're talking about is about the US right now.
Yeah.
And I wanted us to, and I'm particularly happy, and I said that to you, that Queen B, you are Ghanaian, and we are neighboring countries. Because we're going to try and think about that towards the end and talk about such things. But I'm happy all this is coming out, because choice of words, some people would say, don't call us an individual living with disability, call us this and all of that. So I wanted to know if it's just a choice of word, or is it professional to use some terms so that we're doing the right thing?
So when it comes to being called a behavior analyst, or which one?
Yeah, like all of the name, behavior therapist, behavior analyst, I understand. We talk about RBT and clarified all of those. So is this issue of, so I'm a behavior analyst, I'm a behavior therapist. Yes, but so that means
being a behavior therapist is just getting trained by a BCBA, to be able to implement programs with the individual. So it's just basic. You don't need much training. Basic. RBT is registered behavior technician. That you have 40 hours of certification, 40 hours that you have gone through. And then you have been supervised by a BCBA to make sure that you know everything that you went within the 40 hours. You know everything. We have a task list, just like we have the task list for the BCBA. The RBTs also have theirs. So she will go on with the check mark and make sure that you have everything up your sleeve. When I put you with a kid, you know what to do. So you check all that. And then she will sign off, and then we'll send it to the board. The board will verify everything, and then you can take an exam. 75 questions. I think 90 minutes. Yeah, and then you write that exams. You either pass or you fail. You pass, you don't RBT. You don't try again.
Right.
All right. So then that is the RBT. Then the BCABA, which is the assistant behavior analyst. That is the next step to becoming a BCBA. So they also do almost everything like the BCBA, just that their hours of supervision is less. And then they sometimes don't have even the master's program yet. They're either in the master's program, or they just finished their BA, and they are getting into it, and they have hours already accumulated. And I think it's about 350 hours. I think it changes based on whatever you're doing.
Right, good.
Then you
So,
do that. Yeah.
so what I can hear you say now, and I need you to correct me, is
Yeah.
that you can be a behavior analyst, and you
Mm-hmm.
can call yourself a behavior therapist,
Mm-hmm.
but you must understand the principle of ABA, and there must be a form of supervision by BCBA before you can say you're a behavior therapist or a behavior analyst. Yes or no?
Yeah. Yes.
Great.
Yeah.
Now we're going to take a short break.
Oh.
And I'm going to go back to this question I asked you because we have a lot of students here in Nigeria that are in schools, they are in inclusive schools who are living with different disabilities. And there's this question that something that's going on, will I say a school of thought or a notion that's going on that, look, a BCBA must be a BCBA must be there to just like we are asked you the question saying that is ABA a curriculum? Okay, what you I remember your answer was you use all of the tools like BBMAP, ABLS, and all those tools, and helps you to now identify the deficit skills, and then you now use the ABA principle to be able to work with the child. That's what I heard you say. Now we're going to take it to a broader perspective where other disabilities in a school setting and what the role of the BCBA should be, and the teachers and the general ed, and talking about
Yeah.
positive behavior, PBIS,
Mm-hmm.
positive behavior intervention
Intervention. Mhm.
strategies, and a school-wide behavior plan. So we'll take a short break and then we'll get back to that, and then we'll go to the next question. Just take put, get water, do a leg work, just a minute or two, and then we'll be back. Thank you. And while hello everyone again. I need to go get water. I was actually thirsty.
That's good.
So I hope you're able to do a little movement and then add some water or something just to calm you down a bit, because this discussion for me is very important because a lot of people ask questions, and I'm glad I was able to get both of you to come shed some light on what is going on. So now let's go back to the question. But before we go on, I want everyone to please, because this question I'm asking are questions that have been asked by individuals. And I know that this is an interactive session with us, with our guest. So I'm going to be taking my time towards the end to read out your questions so that they can answer your questions. So please feel free to put down your questions or at the comment section, and I'm sure Queen B and Jennifer will be more than happy to answer your questions. And I know that I always ask these questions, and I know I believe you don't mind sharing your social media handles with us, and people can contact you in case they have more questions on the way forward regarding this topic and whatever their plans are. Now let's go to the question that I had initially. You already explained, both of you, anybody can jump in right now because this is like a general question. We already explained that ABA is not a curriculum. So there are some tools, assessment tools that that helps you to identify the deficit skills, and then you now use the principle of ABA to provide. Sorry, so sorry about that. I have a little cold, so we have a little. So you have to use the principle of ABA to provide services for these children. Now, let's look at it on the larger scale, where we have children who are in inclusive schools and there are several disabilities. You know, like I said earlier on, most of the examples we'll be giving is on autism, and it's everybody that's talking about autism and ABA. Now, considering what ABA is, knowing that it's a science of behavior, okay? And knowing that everything, behavior comes up in everything we do, and we are bringing into the inclusive setting in a school. And we have children who have learning disabilities, particularly with dyslexia. We have children who have ADHD. We have children who have cerebral palsy. How does ABA come in when it comes to that? What is the job of a behavior analyst or a BCBA in that setting? And how, I understand, we all know that it involves a multidisciplinary approach, but how do we put it all together, coming from the ABA perspective and BCBA or whoever is actually in charge of modifying or working on the behavior? But how does that come in? Thinking of the courses a child will take. So for a child who is living with dyslexia, we know that it's had to do with reading challenge, sometimes behavior come up and all of that. How does that all work together? And you can pick any child, you can pick any disability, and let us know how ABA comes in and how behavior analysts come in or BCBA come in, knowing that ABA is not a curriculum.
Okay. All right. So first of all, if you're a BCBA, we also want to say that it doesn't mean that you are the know-it-all. Okay. So we have people who have been trained to be able to deal with different kinds of abilities. Okay. So if you're not comfortable dealing with a kid who has dyslexia, right? You don't take that case. It's not part of your scope of practice. You understand? So if I can work with only kids with autism, then I make sure I'm dealing with people with autism. To help kids with ADHD, then I do that too. Some people are not comfortable doing things that are not autism because probably that's where they started training from, right? They got the training from kids with disabilities, with autism. But if you have been in a school or in a training site where you have dyslexia, you have ADHD, you have typical kids with behaviors, right? Or any other disability, then you be comfortable to be able to help these kids out. So we have what we call shaping, right? Part of what we do. We shape a behavior. We shape a behavior to get to where we want it to be. All right. Let's say a kid who has writing problem, right? The kid cannot write. You have to teach the kid, starting from how to even hold a pencil. You're shaping the kid's behavior, right, on how to hold a pencil. You do that for a while. When the kid is good with how to hold a pencil, the grip is good, then now we have to what? Do tracing. Or maybe just to teach the kid how to just doodle, right? Just to see if the kid can just even move their hands. So this are shaping the behavior. It's all what? Getting into how to write, how to hold a pencil, how to move your hands on the paper with a pencil. So you're shaping the behavior towards the writing program. And then we move from that doodling or just writing the lines, straight lines, or curved lines and zigzag. And then we move to tracing a letter. You shape that behavior gradually. So as you're going, you are fading out the tracing so that then they can now individually write the letters. So it's all shaping. You're shaping the behavior to get to where the kid needs to be. You don't just jump guns from, okay, the kid cannot even sit still, right, to eat. And then you're teaching the kid how to sit to eat. It's not working, it won't work. First of all, you need to know that I need to get this kid to be able to sit for 1 second at least, and then shape it to 2 seconds, and then shape it to 5 seconds, and then 2 minutes. So you're shaping the behavior to get to where you want the kid to be, or where the ability that you want the kid to get to. So ABA can be used in everything as long as you know what you're doing. As long as you got some training on what to do, then by all means, a BCBA should be able to do all those things.
Great.
Can you pose the
Jennifer,
question?
over to you.
Can you pose the question one more time? I just want to make sure that.
So I remember asking a question because these are questions that have been asked but for the benefit of those who are listening, someone that asked me before, does ABA is ABA a curriculum? Because she what the issue was more like there was a child with cerebral palsy, and there was a person working with a child, and the child was in an inclusive school, and the child had was not progressing academically, so to say, and this child had no comorbidity. So the lady said to me, when I spoke with the person, I'm not sure the person, the behavior analyst, but she was using the ABA principle according to her. And that the lady said to her that, oh, we are still using the ABA program or something. So all those skills, and this child was in primary school, I think, and this individual has worked with this child for more than 4 years. So she was a bit held back, saying, look, if you work with a child for 4 years and this child has no comorbidity, like a learning disability and it's just cerebral palsy, and even if the child does not have speech, there are other ways of speaking. And if you're calling yourself a behavior analyst or someone using ABA strategy, ABA principle, how come this child is not able to do academic skills? So she asked me that, are there no academic skills in ABA program if you say there's an ABA program? And that's, my response to her was more like what you said, but I wanted it to be out there that, look, ABA, so you take all of those programs, all of those curriculum, and you can now put ABA into it to ensure that it works. But that's for, I will give an example. She gave an example of a child who has issue with writing. So what would be your take on that also, Jennifer? If you find yourself as a behavior analyst in an inclusive school, how would you, thinking of the different needs of these children, how do you come in as a behavior analyst?
Okay. Yeah, that's very interesting. I think the approach here, you're familiar, Bahija, with like paraprofessionals, and so like in a school, there are no behavioral analysts, right? A school will have a BCBA. That's really the structure here in America. Having the BCBA, you have school psychologists and stuff like that. But the BCBA will tell, the child might not even, because I've worked with kids in general educational setting, and I was a paraprofessional, and the BCBA would then advise me on this child's behavioral intervention plan. This child was not on the autism spectrum. They just had challenging behaviors. And so I think like the challenge that I had was that the teacher actually didn't know what to do. So when I wasn't there, I would come in the classroom, I would stay only 3 hours out of a 5 or 6 hour school day. And, that time that I wasn't there, the teacher had no idea. That was really the challenge. The BCBA did not educate the teacher. A lot of the teachers actually didn't know any strategies on the strategies or even the principles of ABA. Challenge.
Talking about the strategies, I want you to tell us some of the strategies, like reinforcement, and explain. Just walk us through it, just for those who might be wondering, what are the strategies? What are you talking about?
Yeah, I'll say two I like, and then you can say the other. I like first then, and I like the token board. You can hit them with the other ones though.
Yeah. So yeah,
those are some of the strategies. That's what I was talking about, Lola. So you have like the principles of ABA, and then like you then have like I think of the strategies as like different, like I just kind of mentioned. But going back into like an educational setting, it's important for teachers to have some strategies of ABA, especially when you have a child who's extremely non-compliant, right? Either using a token board system, either using the first then, strategy. It's important. And these children, again, like I'm saying, don't have to be on the autism spectrum. They can have any types of behaviors, anything. I'll let you touch on the rest of that, Bahija, if you wanted to.
Do you want to add anything to that, Queen Bee?
Yeah. So with, like she said, all special educational teachers should be equipped with ABA.
But are not most times.
They're not.
Yeah, for us back here, we don't have enough BCBA to even equip anyone. So, and now we're going to get to that. That's part of the question we're going to ask. Yeah. For us here, what will you propose? But we're not there yet, because I have one or two more questions before we get there. And there are a lot of questions that are coming up for you, which I will read, and then we'll round up.
Well, with that being said, some of the strategies that we use in the principles are the reinforcement, right? We want to reinforce the kids' behaviors, right? So I know most of us, we don't like at home, for instance, we only catch the kids when they're doing something bad. And, stop it, right? Meanwhile, the kid has been quiet the whole time. We never say,
You
oh,
never said I like the way you were quiet, you know.
yeah, we never said that. And then all of a sudden, the kid maybe just did something like, and then we're like, what was that for? Like, you only catch a kid when they're doing something bad. It's natural. But more so, when you're dealing with kids with disability, you need to be very careful. Catch them always when they're doing something right and reinforce it.
And reinforce
it can be something simple as, oh, they just put the pencil on the table.
I love the way you did that.
I love the way you put your pencil. That's it. That clicks. Next time you will do the same thing again.
True.
Right? But if you're only catching him when he's chewing on the pencil, and they're like, knock that off. What's that? Oh, well, that's all. The only time I get your attention. Okay, then I keep chewing on the pencil.
I keep doing to get your attention. Yes.
Right. So we need to be very careful when we're dealing with kids.
True.
In general, or individuals with disabilities in general.
Even with children without disabilities.
Reinforce the good behaviors. It can, as I said, it doesn't matter how simple that behavior is, reinforce it.
So if I may summarize what you're saying now is, whatever program, so if a child is probably living with dyslexia or whatever disability the child is living with, the school program, the curriculum still stands. All the behavior analyst or the BCBA is doing is trying to find out. So for example, if a child has some behavioral challenges, probably the child, because when we talk about dyslexia, as a matter of fact, it's not like the child is spoiled or whatsoever. But what you want to check out is, what is the behavior affecting learning? Why is that behavior affecting learning? And what will I do to ensure? So, but the program, so for example, if the child was in a literacy class goes on, all the behavior analyst does is to check what is affecting the literacy, what is impeding the child from accessing knowledge during literacy. And if it's a behavioral challenge, that's where you come up with a plan, right?
Yeah. Example.
Great.
I mean, I recently did an assessment of the kid. The kid has, all you need to do is to take something out of the kid. Tantrum, punching, kicking. You tell him to write his name, punching, kicking. It doesn't matter what. The behavior is standing in the way of the kid learning.
Yeah. Yes.
So you can't just jump and still be continuing how to teach the kid how to write when you can't control the behavior. First, you need to cool down that behavior, get a reduction, and then you can do the academics to it. I know a lot of parents goes like, oh, they want the kids to be doctors, you know. Unfortunately, it's not all kids with disability who end up like that. Unfortunately. Let's help them to be able to be part of the society. That's the first and foremost thing. Let's help them as much as they can to be able to navigate when you're not around. Education can come later, but how are they able to go even walk into the store without throwing a tantrum because you didn't even buy the candy that they wanted? Right. So if you can't control that, and anytime you go to the store, the kid will throw up a tantrum because you didn't buy something that they needed. Now then, are you so worried about educating them how to say that the multiplication table, or read a whole book? Always the problem is the behavior gets in the way, and they never get any skill acquisition. So what we need to do, let's go in, assess, evaluate, and start from the very top, and then come down.
Okay. Thank you for that. There are two questions that I have for you, and then I'll go to the one that I want both of you to really try and give us tips and ideas on what can be done. Now, talking about ABA training, particularly when you go into for your master's and then you want to study ABA, are there like chances of saying, look, I want to study ABA, but I'm going to be a school counselor, just like you wanted to be to focus on autism. What are you focusing on, Jennifer?
What am I focusing specifically on?
Yes, in ABA.
So I'm focused on the certificate. So to then sit for the exam.
No. What I mean is that what would your services be what services particularly will you be providing once you're done with your BCBA?
Right. So working with children on the autism spectrum.
Okay, almost like what Queen B is doing.
Correct.
And so is there any, I'm asking because I know you had to cross over and get your course done and then got BCBA. Now, is it are there just the way I said, a GP could say, okay, I want to be a pediatrician, I want to be a neurologist, I want to be orthopedic doctor, and all of that. Are there cases where you could say, you know what, I want to be I want to be a BCBA, but I want to focus on school counselor. I want to focus on psychology. I mean, be a school psychology. Is it possible to want to do that also beyond just saying I want to work with children with autism alone?
Okay. So, yeah. So being so that particular one, being a school psychologist, you need that education to be part of it.
That's what you need. Yeah, you can't. I mean,
you can be a BCBA who is also a school psychologist.
Correct.
Yeah,
I have had a lot.
Exactly. And why I'm asking this question is we found situations where individuals just studied psychology on graduate, even they just studied psychology, probably BSc. And because I know we have clinical psychologists, we have school psychologists in the US, and I know that there's a difference. So that's why I'm asking that question, that when we have individuals who are school psychologists and their job is to work on the child's behavior, I mean, does that have to do with being a BCBA, or you're a BCBA, or if you're going to be a school psychologist, you have to understand what education is and how school works and how you can provide services for those children.
Yeah, definitely.
And then also a lot of it is about licensings. Like for the BCBA, I mean, I'm a behavioral therapist, but I cannot say that I'm a BCBA until I get that license. Same as a school psychologist. You could go to school, get your master's, but certified, you have to get licensing.
Yeah.
Yes.
So you can be a BCBA and become and also be a school psychologist.
Yes, because of the absolutely
more power. You got more education. You know,
exactly.
I think that's amazing.
Yeah, but then again, to come to the other ones, you can be a BCBA, and then you need to be trained on other fields that you want to branch out to.
Correct. True. Yes. Those are some of the things that will make me clear.
Right. She works at the forensics here in Trenton. I have a friend, or I wouldn't say a friend, but a colleague who is dealing with juvenile delinquencies. She's a BCBA. I have a friend who is into OBM, organizational management.
Yes. I'm very aware of that. Because it's just the belief that BCBA autism or BCBA is cool. You know, so you can branch out into different things.
Into everything that you want.
Yes, you have to.
One of the most common though for BCBA is autism. Like here in America, that is autism. Like for organizational psychology, you really don't need a BCBA, but you probably know about strategies and principles in ABA. But here in America, it's ABA autism.
Autism. Yeah.
Great. And I'm happy that we're clarifying this. And these are things that are done in America, but then bringing it back home. But before we bring it back home, I know there's this, I can't really say it verbatim, but I know that international applicants for BCBA has been banned, so to say. Is that the right word?
That's interesting.
Next year. I think from next year.
From next year, yeah. So I'm thinking, okay, so for everyone who wants to be a BCBA, or who wants to, apply the principle of applied behavior analysis, how do we get someone like you over there with the board now have to cancel all of those? Do they have to rework all of those? And if that is the case, or whatever they're trying to do, what would you advise? And this, I want you to just think of it, knowing how it's done over there. Both of you knowing how things are done over there, and thinking, Queen B, you're Ghanaian. I keep telling you, Jennifer, there's something about, I think you're Nigerian. I don't know, but let's just assume, and that's why I love this particular panel, is that we have someone who's over there. We have someone who has been here and understand how things are done over there. If we were to consult with you and say, look, in Nigeria, in Ghana, we want to have our own thing. Yes, we understand that it's been banned and we understand, okay, cultural difference and all that. What are the step-by-step things we should do to be able to say, look, we understand that international, we will not be granted that those certificates being international students or applicants. Yeah. What would you advise? So if we were made, let me now use my language. If you had made the Minister of Education, probably regionally for West Africa, and we're talking about this issue of having our certificate under applied behavior analysis, what are the steps we should take? I'm bringing it back home to work for us. And Jennifer, please, I want you to also put your input so that we can see what we're dealing with, knowing what is happening, and now we can customize it to be ours.
Mm-hmm. All right. So first of all, ABA has a bad reputation in most part of Africa because of how it was done. Even here in the US, it was bad before they had the governing body, before the board was there. ABA was there, but there was no board that was governing the whole thing. So if the board here is not going to be certifying as back home or other region in the world, then now we need to actually get the bull by the horn. Meaning that if we want to really truly do this, we have to have a governing body. Something that would bind and make sure that people are not just doing things on their own and calling themselves BCBAs or calling it ABA and harming other people with that. We need a group, working group that would be watching. That would be the big brother eye, watching and making sure that we are truly doing things ethically and not harming people. I keep using the word harm because people are harming people out there. So we need something that is working. Some people that like-minded people who know exactly what ABA should look like, how it's supposed to be implemented, who is supposed to be doing it, who is supposed to be giving the supervision, and then we can work from there. We shouldn't just say, oh, now good. The Americans have left us to do our own. Yes, let's do it like the way we can do it. No. We need people who can actually guide us. We can definitely get them to help us set it up the way they did the setting up here. Just replicate it, right? To suit us. Let's forget all the assessments that we're using here. It doesn't work for us. No. The assessment in America is for America. We can also bring out our own assessments to affect every region in Africa. Because when we say Africa, doesn't mean it's not like United States of America. No. Even within Ghana, we have different cultures.
True.
But then we can still make it work when we say, okay, this is assessment for Ghanaians. Because we can pick and choose what works for all of us, right? And then in Nigeria, and then in Togo, and then in Benin, everybody will have their own assessment going on individually in their country. So I think that is how we should start and how we should go. This board giving us our own thing to do and not just running with it like that.
Great.
I think, like you said, Mahisha, duplicating it like America is good. But like I think also a piece is really incorporating that parent education. I keep coming back to this because America has never centered parent education as it really, not really, honestly. Right. And so I think that if
that's a funny thing.
Make that change, that's what
insurance insists on parent training though.
So I understand.
Yeah, they insist on parent training because they know that, of course, they don't want to be, I get where insurance is coming from, but it's also good because they don't want us going on and on working and then they are paying. They want us to equip the parents. So when we get to a point, we can say, okay, now you're good, you can take care of your kid or you can take care of your work, right? So definitely, I feel like even though I'm in the field, I feel like I'm more an educator. I see myself more educating people than actually doing the one-on-one work with the individuals. Because I feel like if I tell you what to do, you can help other people with it.
Correct.
So yeah, in other words,
a lot of workshops, a lot of like trainings with the police, with firefighters, with other community helpers, so that we know how to handle individuals with disabilities in our community.
Right.
Yeah.
Great, great. So in other words, with what you're saying is, because I remember you said you only have one resident BCBA in Ghana too, just like we have in Nigeria.
Yeah.
How are these two people alone going to have to help put all of this together? So we are calling on, that means we have to probably whoever is planning to do this to be certified to please hurry up, get it done. Africa, please get it, because we need more people so that we can get more people on board, and then we can put all the framework together and begin to do something for our own people, for our own culture, for our own terrain.
So
we're trying to say something.
the funny thing about this is we have a lot of Nigerians who are BCBAs in the US.
Yes,
They are not,
yes.
but they are not going home. We have a lot
Home,
of
yes.
Ghanaian BCBAs who are here.
Yes, yes, yes,
But we are not.
yes,
So
yes. So we're calling on you guys. We're calling on you. Please
I know.
just come for a few months for doing your summer. Let's make our home great again.
Who can also help you? You know what I mean? Because you don't want to come back home and you're trying to help, but nobody is helping you. The governing bodies are not helping you. We need the government.
I know that when the time comes, we will do something. But please, when we call on you, please network with every other person that would be able to help, so we can make this ours too. We need to start building our own. Jennifer, anything you want to add to that? I know you're big on parent training.
No, I'm big on that. Big, it's not enough. What I know is not enough. It needs to be more.
So as we even begin to do that, and I think I can read what you're trying to say, that even as we do whatever we're doing, let's not forget to carry the parents along, which is one job that have not been done so well, simply because I think when what Wimpy was saying is because insurance pays, and they don't want to keep paying, they want parents to be equipped. But here, parents pay by themselves, so whether insurance is paying or not, is the parent that's bearing, that knows what it's costing them. But what we want to say is, parents, you need to make yourself available. Even as we try to make all of this what works for us in Africa, in West Africa, in Nigeria, in Ghana, parents, we have a lot of role to play as a parent. Be involved, want to know what's happening with your child, get yourself equipped so that you don't keep paying on how to work with your child with the principle of applied behavior analysis. Now, I want to quickly go to the questions, because these are some of the questions that I had based on what people are asking, and that's why I thought to bring you on board. But then there's a lot of people who are here who have questions for us. So let's quickly take it real quick. Let me be sure that we have all the questions. So bringing your questions, you've always asked me questions. I brought in experts now. I'm seeing people saying hello to you. They're saying, well done, Queen B, well done, Jennifer. I see all that you're doing. Thanks, ladies, for this education. The comment, thanks. Good job, Jennifer. Awesome, well done. So some people are, thank you so much, Queen B, for explaining in detail. Is that Skinner's picture behind Bahida? Yay! That was a question from Nana. Wow, we see.
Verbal behavior. I'm very
verbal. Yes, well done. Thank you so much for the explanation. That's from Nana K to you. Totally agree with Jennifer. I'm sure I missed what she was talking about. Now you have to do it, the 5th task list with 2,000 hours. It is not an easy program. Kudos to you both. So people are really excited that you're here to explain this. Parental development is very important. Thank you. Yes, parent education is very important. So you're getting support, a lot of support on that parent education, Jennifer. So everybody says parent education is important. What's the next one? Yeah. Let me see.
Queen Bee, congratulations for your BCBA, because I know I'm listen.
Collaboration is always.
I'm not looking forward to the hours. I'm not. Any tips? Any advice?
I'll give it this.
They've actually put a cap on the hours. I think it's like you can only, I'm not sure if it's 30 hours a week. It's not 40.
No, so nowadays they made it a month.
Correct.
Paper. I mean form, right? So before we used to accumulate every other week, but now it's 130 for a month. So it's okay.
It might be 130 for a month. Yeah. Because I think it wasn't 40, because I was trying to figure out how could I get 3 jobs, knock out my hours. And they were like, no, you could only work for one company You know,
Yeah, but if you get a clinic, though, if you get a clinic, then you can do that.
Okay, so Jennifer, you need to give me some commission for connecting you to this lady, so you guys can talk behind the screen. No, we need to talk
Well,
because a lot of people wanted to hear from you.
my program is actually really good with the hours, so I'm like really excited about it. So, and then the website, the BC. Tell me the website. I always call it the BCBA website, but is it
BACB?
BABCB website. So guys, BABCB website, go check it out and see what you need to know.
BACB.
Yeah.
Okay, I always say it wrong, backwards, whatever. But yeah, so
there's
that's
a question.
Okay, there's a question here.
Do you have to do any preliminary course if your first degree is not under ABA before registering for BCBA in MSc?
What's it? MSc? I'm not sure.
Masters of Science.
Okay. I was like, what? What's going on?
No. Is it Masters? Yeah, MSc.
Yeah, MSc. I think so. Masters of Science. Okay, so if your first degree is not in ABA, which most of us didn't,
is not right.
I'm from a theater background. Okay, so two separate worlds. The more fun part, and then the more serious world, right?
Yes.
But my background actually helped me a lot. Why I'm saying that is we have what we call the functional analysis, right? So when you are in that, when you're conducting a functional analysis, and you are in with the client, and you are trying to evoke, right, the behavior for to come out, right? You have to have a straight face on. Sometimes it's funny. You really need to you will laugh, and when you are in it, you need to have a neutral face. I remember when I was working in the clinic, I was the go-to person to use because I can just switch and turn right, like it's like on cue, out of cue, on cue, like
because of your background in theater.
It was working with me, so I was able to conduct an FA and get good results because the kid will come to you, try to make you laugh or do something that will make you piss you off, distract you, and then I have a straight face on. And they always wonder, how do you do that? And then I remember my supervisor then would go a theater background is working. So you really don't have to have ABA background. All you have to do is to get a good, you have a good GP. If you're doing it here, you make sure that your evaluation of your transcript is good, and then you apply. And then that's it.
I think if you are in America, I'm answering this question based off that. I don't know where you're located, but for myself, I just finished my master's degree in educational leadership. And so on that BCAB website, it's going to say, if you have a degree in, I think it's psychology, education, right? Mine's in education. My master's is in education, but none of the classes for my master's are applicable to the courses that they want. So again, if you're trying to go for your master's in education, just make sure that those classes are aligned with the classes that they want. So that's why for me, I have to go now to certificate program and get my ABA certificate to then sit for the board BCBA exam, if that makes any sense. I hope that was applicable.
Yeah.
I think it does. But this person, I think she's Nigerian because the name she's Nigerian. So once you have your transcripts evaluated, then you know the next thing to do. Yeah. Someone is saying, I'm enjoying this, just like Queen B mentioned, during this COVID-19, my son's teacher comes home to teach him. By virtue of that opportunity, my child's minder learned a lot about how to calm my son and relate with my son, and it has reduced the number of panic calls she sends to me during work hours. Training of parents and everybody involved in the child care is very important. I'm happy we are able to take that away. Now, what does that say? Now, that's saying the importance of parents, everybody just say it because it's very important. The importance of parents, training can never be overemphasized. Well done, ladies. I guess everybody enjoyed having you today. Let me see if there's any question. Any other question? Okay, I see. Can I see any question here? Because I don't want to just keep reading what them emphasize. I mean, what does that say? No. There's no more question. So I guess whenever we ask them, whenever I have programs like this and there are no more questions, I just feel like you guys have done so much justice. You've answered even the one they were meant to ask. So well done, ladies. I'm super excited you were here today. And for me, I think we're going to have to call you up one more time because there's so much we need to learn. Some people were hearing FA, they were hearing reinforcement, they were hearing token system. We will need you to come back and please break it down to us. I know we cannot claim to say we've been trained at BCBA, but then some of those things mix because a lot of teachers, even classroom teachers, are not aware on how to have even just simple classroom rules in place.
Yeah.
Or even schools do not even understand the school-wide behavior management plan.
No.
So some of those
That's
things
true. It's a problem here. It's a problem here.
True. So we want you to just say, you know what? You do not necessarily have to have even a child with this because every child, we all have our behaviors that we exhibit. So we would want you to just give us tips on how to go about just some general tips. I will never claim that we are behavior. We'll never claim that we are behavior analysis or the future. We'll just say, oh, now we have the knowledge to be able to help children to modify or adjust their behavior. Oh, ladies, how do I thank you? How? Please tell me. How do I thank you? You've been amazing. You didn't hold anything back. You've been sweet. Thank you so much. I can't thank you enough. You guys are simply the best.
It's for us as well. So yeah.
Thank you. Thank you, Jennifer. Thank you, Kubi. You guys are the best. And please, I don't know if it's okay for you to share. I think you said it was okay. So please, once this is over, please reach out. Go to Lola Aneke's Facebook page. You'll see this. You'll see the comments and some of the video. Even on Instagram, please leave your contacts, your social media contacts, so that people can. I know Jennifer is always talking about our parents. You always give out free information on how you can support children using apply behavior analysis. Please let people be able to follow you so they can learn from you. They can contact you and also learn from you. Thank you, everyone. Thank you for everyone who had being a part of this program. It just shows to me that we care, we want to help individuals with disability, and that there's no better way than for you to come and acquire knowledge. And I want to thank Queen B and Jennifer for giving out the best of themselves to us today. We're bringing you back definitely. We're going to follow you. Everybody's going to follow you. We're going to be asking you questions. Please do us that honor of answering us so that we can help our kids living with disability. You guys are the best, and I love you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye-bye, everyone.
Bye.
Thank you. Bye.